Hello, friends and enemies, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I'm half the hockey fan still.
So we got a lot to talk about this week because hockey is back in season. So
it sure is.
You're so excited, I can tell.
It already feels relentless.
Well, let's just get right into it then.
Let's do it.
So to kick off the season, we got a new NHL promo. This is what we're calling the NHL Gen Z promo that's been going around.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you a link to that one, so you have seen it.
I have.
So there were some actual pretty funny, decent acting performances, which already sets the bar really high when it comes to NHL promos, I think.
True. They tend to be awkward when they're told to say something.
That is a thing that I have noticed as well.
Yeah.
It does star some actual young people, including Connor Bedard, Jack Hughes, and Nick Suzuki, as well as Austin Matthews, who he may look like, a middle-aged uncle, but he has a youthful, chronically online energy, let's say.
Yep.
But then it gets a little weird because we get into Connor McDavid.
Right.
When I texted you the link, you responded with surprise that he was Gen Z.
Yes, did not expect him to be a Gen Zer.
You were not the only one. Pretty much the whole internet was very confused about it because we all looked it up and he is technically Gen Z. He is the oldest of the Gen Zs, but people will say kids have like an old soul. He has an ancient soul. So it does not feel like, he may be chronologically Gen Z, but he feels much older.
Yeah, no, he's never given me Gen Z vibes.
No. He and Austin Matthews are the same age pretty much.
Right. Yeah. And I never got Gen Z vibes from Austin Matthews other than the onlineness and.
Yeah, I still didn't really question it when I saw Austin Matthews.
Yeah, I was okay with it. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. But with Connor McDavid. And then you get into Jack Eichel.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me.
Jack Eichel is a year older than Connor McDavid. And while there are some places on the internet that will say people born in 1996 are Gen Z, most people consider that a millennial.
Right.
So I would say he's a zillennial at best.
At best, right. And I know the target for those categorizations shift over the years.
It's true. I used to be categorized as Gen X.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. You're
or
right.
No, I was in that nebulous phase where we didn't have a generation. There
Right.
was like Gen X and there was millennial. And then there was like a 7-year gap in between where we were just forgotten about, so pretty much the story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jack Eichel being there didn't feel like it made a lot of sense. I feel like there are plenty of people who fall squarely in the Gen Z cohort who could have, been there with we want things handed to us and holding up the Stanley Cup. I feel like you could have had that.
There's plenty of young kids playing right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or younger.
Yep.
Younger.
Youngish. Youngish, exactly.
Yeah. They don't have to be babies.
Right.
I just feel like it kind of took away from like the punchline of the joke where you cut to Sidney Crosby going, kids these days, or whatever he says.
Right. Yeah, it takes you out of it seeing Jack Eichel like in Vegas by a pool, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel super Gen Z to me, I guess.
No, it does not.
I don't know. All the Gen Zs I know are very depressed and they're worried about rent and they're not Vegas poolside, but I guess it's not really about that.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it was a good commercial.
I thought it was
promo.
fun. Yeah.
We all, I think, complain a lot about how the NHL doesn't know how to market the NHL. So it was a really good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I was engaged when I saw it. So
there
good,
you go.
So good for them.
Yeah. We also, since it was the first week of hockey, we did check out some opening games besides just the one for our teams.
Yep.
And we watched the opening game for the Canadiens versus the Leafs. You and I were not aware of the pageantry that can go into a Canadian opening game.
No, it was intense. I was like, is this really happening right now?
Yes.
And it was.
It was. It's true.
Yeah.
I ended up doing a little research because I was like, is it always like this? What's happening? So I guess the Canadiens have used Fix You by Coldplay as an intro song for something like the last 12 years, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So that, is interesting.
Sure.
It's not what I would necessarily choose for an intro song.
It doesn't get anyone hyped.
Well, you wouldn't think so. I definitely felt emotional stirrings
It's true.
It's true.
They were selling it.
They were selling
that band and orchestra.
Yes.
On the 50th loop of that song, we're still feeling it.
Yeah. No, the electric guitars, they were really, I don't think electric guitar players have ever more closely connected to the lyrics of Fix You
True.
than they did that night. I really actually enjoyed it. The lyrics did feel a lot more personal this year, just because we had a particularly gruesome preseason with a lot of injuries, and the Habs in particular were affected by that. We had Patrick Laine was set to sort of make his big return to hockey after a couple of years of struggles. And in the preseason, he injured his knee. He'll be out for 2 to 3 months with a sprain. Also, David Reinbacher, the same game, received a knee injury. He'll have surgery and he'll be out 5 to 6 months. So really rough preseason for everybody. But it was really sweet when they introduced Patrick Laine and he got a big standing ovation and cracked a smile. And this was supposed to be a big fresh start for him. And I know starting out injured was not how he envisioned it. And it just is really nice to see how the team and the city have welcomed him.
Yeah, it seems very supportive.
It was very supportive.
Yep.
And that's really how it felt until the Leafs came in.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, very long. It was like 8 minutes of,
Felt like 20.
It felt like 20. It was just many loops of Fix You and like the instrumental parts and just the swelling music and the players coming out and the increasingly loud adulation. And then they introduced the Leafs and it was mostly silent except for some boos.
Yeah, no, the fanfare was massive. And then everything was dark and they're like, and here's the Leafs. And then they just single file come out of like a small little gate. And it was... It would have been devastating to me as a Leaf to come out there.
It was truly hilarious. I don't think I really appreciated how petty that kind of situation could be. And it was really great. We watched the Stars home opener last night and they had a nice little ceremony for the Stars and they just didn't acknowledge the other team at all. And that's fine. And that's normal.
Yeah.
But not the Habs. They're like, okay, we're going to have this huge pomp and circumstance, giant affair. It's going to be great, over the top, Coldplay. And then also we're going to make the Leafs come out and it's going to be very, very sad and tragic.
Yeah, no, it reminded me of the time I saw that game where we got to hear the Colorado announcers that were like at the game. And they're like, McKinnon scores a goal. And then somebody else, like one of the Stars would score and be like, Jason Robertson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was like that amped up beyond belief.
They turned it up to an 11 for sure. So, and then speaking of people who do things a little differently, we have the Florida Panthers. Earlier this week, you showed me a intro that they did for their season, I guess. It's a little music video. It's set to some song and it's like a promo and you see the players and you see the crowd and you see a bunch of shots of them on the ice. And it's so cheesy.
Yep.
It's so over the top.
Yep.
It's truly excellent.
In the best way possible.
I loved it. They understand their brand so well. There's like this panther, like a silver panther, like strutting through like a neon road. And then, you barely see the players really, but the shots you get, they're just brief enough where it looks badass instead of like they're posing awkwardly, which is what this really is. It's just like media day. They're posing awkwardly. But the shots they got of the crowd were so hype. The song they chose was really awesome. I was not aware, I guess, because I haven't really paid attention before this, but I wasn't really aware that teams did promos like this. Mm-hmm. I said, wow, the Dallas Stars should really do a promo like this and really, that'd be great to really get things hype. And then I found out that they did.
Yeah.
And now I wish that they didn't.
And you shared that with me prior to starting.
I did. Because I didn't want to suffer alone. And that's what marriage is suffering with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of unfortunate. Whoever was chosen to be the editor on that, I feel like it was the first time inside an editing program and they were like, look at all these cool things I can do. And they put layers and layers of effects on.
I had a tiny seizure, just a little baby seizure.
And the song, I think the song would maybe be okay if I didn't see the band playing it and the singers singing it.
The singers had kind of a like a morning DJ vibe, like on the radio.
Yeah, and like a new metal morning DJ vibe.
Yes, new metal morning DJ
new metal
vibe.
country morning.
New metal country morning DJ vibe is the way to describe it. The band is called Lakeview. No offense if you're into it.
No,
it's just not my thing.
I didn't hate the song. Necessarily, let's say that. But I did not need their personalities in there for seeing Dallas Stars clips.
I mean, again, I get it. Like I said, the clips of the players are usually pretty awkward, but that doesn't mean I needed this band to be in there. Just more crowd shots, more ice shots, just call up the Florida Panthers editor and say, please teach me how to edit. Because that one was really, really good.
Yeah.
And really spoke of the brand. And with Dallas, I just feel like the brand's a little confused right now.
Yeah. They're straddling this like country hard rock,
but we're rock.
Yeah.
And it's not really a good example of either one.
Yep.
I'll listen to both of those, but I don't want to listen to both at the same time necessarily, and especially not when it's that.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad, but
Yeah, I mean, everyone can't be great at the promos, I guess.
But I mean, it's certainly better than I could do, I'm sure. So
yeah, we can couch it in that context there.
Right. Okay. There we go. Yes.
I couldn't have done that good either.
There we go. Yep. So see, all right, you're better than we are. And speaking of the Panthers, we also watched the Panthers opening game with the Bruins. It was the Panthers home opener. That was a really exciting one. First, you had your intro where they unveiled the Stanley Cup banner. So that was really nice.
Yep.
But mostly you just got returned to the shenanigans of Panthers hockey right away. They don't seem to have lost a step from last year at all.
No, they looked good. They looked fast. They looked healthy.
Yep.
They looked like themselves.
Yes. Again, their identity, their brand, and then their identity as players and as a team. It's all very consistent across the board, and they know who they are.
Yeah. And they've had personnel changes, and I didn't feel like I was looking at a different team, right?
No.
I don't know how many changes there were, but I know that some people are missing.
Yeah, it was a decent amount. That happens a lot right after a cup. They kind of bring in a lot of people at the trade deadline to kind of do that last cup push. So there are definitely people missing and new people in, but it really felt like the energy and the spirit of the team was the same. If anything, I will say it again sort of was the Matthew Tkachuk show.
It was, yeah.
Which it always is. In a way, I like that.
Yeah, no, you're a Tkachuk fan. That's fair to say.
I am. It's true, and I'm not going to be ashamed of it anymore.
No, I don't think you should be. I think everyone will understand at this point.
Well, that game really sort of fed into a theory that I've been developing. So I think Matthew Tkachuk has an incredible amount of charisma. I also think he has something that I'm calling anti-charisma.
Okay.
So anti-charisma is not the lack of charisma.
Right.
It is instead the exact opposite of charisma. So charisma is, it's a thing that really attracts you and draws you in and wants you to learn more, makes you want to learn more about somebody. Anti-charisma is where somebody really repels you and disgusts you and you don't want anything to do with them.
Okay.
And you just think that they're the worst.
Right.
So I think with Matthew Tkachuk, you feel like he's charismatic or you feel like he's really anti-charismatic. Or you don't care about him at all because you're a normal person.
Right.
Which is probably 99% of the people in the world.
He's polarizing.
That is a very good word about him. I just sort of stick to the Dallas Stars game threads in Reddit. But I was in the Panthers Bruins game thread, and boy, just there are so many polarizing opinions, like you said, about Matthew Tkachuk. People really love him or really hate him.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of in between.
You're going to get that with any of the big personalities. And if you vibe with them, great. If you don't, I think that's fine. I think people have the same kind of relationship with Jamie Benn at times.
They do, I think, which is weird because Jamie Benn does not have charisma or anti-charisma. He
Exactly.
has the third separate thing that's like the dearth of charisma.
Exactly.
And I say that as somebody who also unabashedly loves Jamie Benn.
Right.
But the charisma is not there.
Yeah, no, I feel like with him and Tkachuk, like the personality is so locked down to what it is. Like if you vibe with it, great. I feel like Jamie and me would get along fine. I feel like Matthew and me would get along fine. I don't think that everyone would feel that way.
Yes, I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, you would probably get along with just about everybody, though.
I'm pretty easygoing.
It's true. You have to be to survive being
Absolutely.
living with me for the last 20 years.
Yep. Speaking of the Boston game, that was the one where Swayman did not start, right?
Correct. Yes. It was Corpusalo instead.
Yeah. I found his performance underwhelming. He made me very nervous.
Yes, I think that that's pretty accurate.
He seemed to not know where the puck was a lot of the time. And I feel like as a goalie, I mean, I don't know much about being a goalie, but I feel like that's like high up on the list.
You know, same. I also don't know much about being a goalie. I do think perhaps puck awareness is one of the things that you should be paying attention to.
Yep. Made me real nervous. But anyway, seeing Swayman there, it was great. I have decided that Swayman is my spirit animal, and I would like him to be my life coach. So
you know, I think there are worse things in life than having a goalie as a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, having a drummer as a life coach, that would be worse than having a goalie as a life coach.
Probably be very similar, but yeah, much worse.
Yes, but yeah, similar but worse. So congratulations. I support you, I guess.
Yep.
Was there anything else that happened outside of the world of the Stars and the Flyers that had made an impact on you?
We watched some of the Canucks.
Yes.
I can't remember what game it was. We've seen a couple games of theirs now.
We did. We saw them play the Flyers, actually, one game.
Yeah. I really enjoy the way they play.
Yes.
And I kind of thought that last year, but seeing them again this year, really enjoyed it. But I did have a question about nicknames, and you mentioned Huggy Bear.
Yes.
During that game, and I was like, why is he called Huggy Bear?
Because Hughes.
Oh, is that
Quinn Hughes?
That's it.
So people call him Huggy Bear.
Okay,
I suppose.
All right.
Possibly it's deeply ironic because he looks like the last person
right
that you would call Huggy Bear, just because he looks so deeply existential.
Yep.
Quinn Hughes does at most given times. Yes. It's hockey nicknames are weird like that. They're either deeply unoriginal or they're so original you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And most of the time, 99% of the time, deeply unoriginal, but then occasionally you get an outlier like that. I mean, you know, there are the really clever ones. There's Jack Eye from the Canadians, who is Wi-Fi because his last name is just sort of a collection of consonants.
Looks like a Wi-Fi password.
It does. It's really clever. It's great.
But other than that, no, I don't think I had some thoughts about the Stars games we've watched and the Flyers games we've watched, which I'm sure we're going to get into. But other teams, no. That's where I'm at.
Well, that does give us a great transition to get into our segment that I call Stargazing, where we talk about my beloved Dallas Stars. So we have had two games since last week. We had game one, which was our road opener in Nashville. That was on Thursday. We had a final score of 4-3. Stars won. Our first goal was Rope Hintz off of a feed from Logan Stankoven, which was really cool. Then within about 18 seconds, we had Robo score off of a really neat 360 pass from Rope. Goals 3 and 4 were in the second. Those were both from Mason Marchment. And so we were looking really good in the third period, went into the third period up 4-1. And then by the end of the game, it was 4-3. So we still won, but, you know, it was a little bit more of a nail biter, which is really just the Dallas Stars experience. Do you have any sort of thoughts on that game in particular?
I don't think I did. No.
A Thursday night game is tough for you.
A Thursday night game's tough for me. I don't think I watched any of the second period, which is pretty typical for me.
You're a wanderer.
Came back towards the last 10 minutes of the third, watched the first. It was fine. They won. Good job.
They did.
Stankoven looks great.
He's fantastic.
I thought Johnston looked good. Wasn't making anything really connect, but I thought the energy and the drive was there. Ottinger looked great.
Yes.
Ottinger, huge part of things right now, especially, I think.
I feel like the first two games, it's a little bit of a return to form. Well, I'll touch on the second game and then we can kind of do some overall impressions. Sure. So second game was last night. We played, who did we play last night?
I don't know.
The Islanders.
Oh, yeah. That's why I don't know.
I was going to say that's why we don't know, because Fred is bored stupid by the Islanders.
I am. It's not them, it's me.
It's a little bit them.
Is it? I think it might be.
It's a little bit them.
Yeah.
You do like the coach. You like Patrick Waugh.
That's what I don't get.
I know. You're like, he's so interesting. Why is nobody else interesting?
He's so interesting, so dynamic. We ended up seeing some old clips of him during like some YouTube compilations we were watching earlier in the day. And just what a wild man.
Yes.
Why not that energy for your team? I mean, sure, we get that energy when he pulls the goalie with 30 minutes left. But
right.
like,
but otherwise, yeah.
Otherwise, I don't get that.
His passion doesn't translate on the ice.
I don't see it.
Through his team. It's not like a Tortorella where Tortorella starts freaking out and then you get TK out there arguing with the refs.
Right.
It's a very different situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, so the Islanders, we won 3-0, shutout for Otter.
Yeah, nice.
It was a very old school kind of game. First goal was Sagan with the assists coming from Mason Marchment and Matt Duchene. So the thruple line, as I like to call them, is back in business.
Yep.
The three of them have insane chemistry and have since last year. And I'm really glad to see them back together, just putting it together like that. Second goal was Jamie Benn off of an assist from Wyatt Johnston. And that was crazy because he kind of scrambled in, blew a tire, fell down, jumped up, reset, and then within, a couple of seconds, took a pass from Wyatt and hit it home. So it's nice to see, old Grandpa Jamie being able to. I say that like I'm not 10 years older than he is, but.
Right. Yeah. And I thought it was nice that Sagan and Ben were the first two goals of the home opener. I feel like that sets a good tone for like the rest of the team, probably, I guess.
Exactly. Well, and Sagan was the third goal. He had an empty net goal, which, as you know, we have struggled with empty nets the last couple of seasons.
I think he's struggled specifically too. He's missed two or three last year.
He's missed a couple. He's had some, but he's missed as many as he's had, if not more. So no, really, the points on the board yesterday were really Ben and Sagan. And a lot of people, online are like, is it 2014 or 2024? But I say, Jamie and Tyler have always been good. I know maybe they don't look like they did 10 years ago, but I think it's completely unrealistic to expect hockey players to look the same after 10 years. 10
years is a long time.
It's a long time.
A lot happens in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look the same as I did 10 years ago.
Nope.
And I'm not playing a competitive sport or any sport unless you consider watching hockey a sport.
It's kind of feeling like one to me.
I mean, I am a little competitive about it.
I got to get hyped up. I got to do some stretching before we get going.
I put in the hours. Yeah. It's true. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I just am kind of their constant defenders. People get frustrated because, we're paying them a lot of money and they're not delivering what they did at that time, blah, blah, blah. But that's the risk you take. If you have players that are really good and you don't give them money and they walk, then you're really sad that you didn't give them money. Mm-hmm. If you do give them the money and then they don't produce the way that they used to, then you get mad at them for, aging normally. It's just really unrealistic standards in the sporting world. But what I admire about both Jamie and Tyler is they've really evolved their games as they've aged. Tyler in particular has had so many injuries. He just can't shoot the way that he used to. And he's really changed the way that he plays a lot. He's really changed his approach to the game. And then same with Jamie. He just does what needs to get done.
Yeah, he's taken on more of that mentor role, holding things together, being like, here's how we're going to do it. Oh, people are beating you up. I'm going to beat them up.
Yes. Yeah. No, I really like him in a sort of his big brother era. So, I love seeing them deliver like that, but I'm not surprised when it happens. I'm not like, oh, it's like a time machine. Because as far as I'm concerned, they both step up all the time. And it's just people expecting them to step up the way that they did when they were 23. God, Jamie was like not much older than 23 when he had both of his hips replaced. Like hockey is wild. You cannot expect people to play the same year to year.
Yeah. I don't expect them to play anyway. I just hope that they do, and I'm excited when they do.
Yes. So, you just want everybody to show up and have a good time.
I honestly do.
You're the parent who's there passing out the orange slices at the end of the game.
Yep. I want them to try their best, and that's about it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
And that's why our daughter will never be a competitive sports person. And that and many other reasons.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. But yeah, no, overall, it was a good couple of first games. We won both. We looked solid. Otter, I think, has been looking really good. He dipped a little bit last year. People were concerned about him. I think he's looked really solid. There are a lot of people who are going to say, oh, well, he got really lucky with some things because there were a lot of posts. There were a lot of posts.
There were.
Yeah. always like to make the argument that you don't get posts if you're not in position. So
there we go.
You know, if you're putting yourself in a really good position and you're really closing that gap, you know, people are hitting the posts because they don't have a lot of real estate to hit into. So is that always the case? No, of course not. But
right.
I like it when there's that combination of skill and luck coming together. Because last year we had no puck luck, it felt like. I mean, we could have 100 shots on goal and nothing would go in. We could have like the craziest bounce that would go in against Otter. And it was so frustrating. It just felt like the hockey scriptwriters were working full time against us. So to see for the first few games this season, it coming out and having people playing really well, but then also having the puck luck, it made me feel like, oh, maybe we're the chosen ones this year.
Yes, 2 games in.
Well, I mean, it's a long season, so I can't get way all up in my head about it, but
starting out 2-0 is great.
Starting out 2-0 it's good. I will take it. And I like the energy of it, I guess. You know, I'd rather be good than lucky, but I like the luck a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like they slowed things down a little bit last night and pulled back. And that was part of my boredom, I think. I want people cycling and swirling and things moving. And there wasn't a lot of that. There was a lot of stand, you know, down in the crease and stand up at the top and pass it around kind of stuff.
Well, they played to protect the lead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that I find boring.
I get that. And I have felt that way too. I did find it more impressive than usual last night because we were down a defenseman.
Oh, that's right. Dumba
got injured partway through the first period, came back for a while. And then I think it was after the first intermission, he never came back in again after that.
Right.
So I think we played 2 full periods with only 5 D-men.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, Miro by the end of the second period, I think had already played 20 minutes, which is a lot. You know, we're doing all of that with only 5 D-men. It means we're really getting some excellent defensive work from our forwards.
Right.
In particular, Logan Stankoven, who is everywhere at all times. There's like, when he's on the ice, there's never a play that he's not involved with or starting or right in the middle of.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive.
He's tenacious.
Unstoppable, fearless. He's great. He just, you know, they say he's got like a motor that just keeps going, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think it's really injected some heat into that top line with Robo and Hintz. Like, he's generating all of these chances. Yes, we miss Pavelski. We loved Pavelski. That was not his specialty, was going real fast and generating those opportunities and things. So it's nice to see that change in energy and seeing what it's bringing to the offensive games of Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz.
Yeah.
Because Robo had a great number of points last season, heavier on the assists than the goals, but we spread our goals out around the team last year. So it was what it was. Rope's production was a little down last year. I think maybe he was battling some injuries here and there. But yeah, Logan Stankoven's just really injected a lot of something into that line. And, you know, again, I don't want to like dwell on his size because everybody does.
It's fine. He's tiny.
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like dwell on it too much. But
it doesn't seem to be an issue.
It doesn't seem to be an issue.
It's like not a talking point.
Exactly. That's what it is. Like, I don't want to be like, and also he's so tiny. Like, it's impressive no matter what size he is because he is young. He's still a rookie, and he's so smart. He's so creative. He comes up with so many good plays, and he just does not stop. Like, I love it. I love watching him. I think he's so much fun.
And that the thing you're saying about the offensive guys playing better defensive games, I feel like that goal that Jamie Benn had, I think Razor said, the reason he was in position is because he was getting up to hustle back to be on D.
Yes, he and Wyatt were both hustling to get back on defense, and
as a result found themselves in the right spot.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And, you know, defense is a place where we've really struggled, and the forwards definitely need to step up on that front too. So it's really nice to see that they're doing that even in a, you know, game 2 where our defense is already Swiss cheesy again, because, you know, that was another one of the complaints about Matt Dumba, was that he's maybe a little bit made out of glass, and people are like, cool, we've had him for 20 minutes and we already broke him. So
how are you feeling about his play up until he went out?
He definitely had some plays where I was like, oh, hey, good for him.
Okay.
He did good. I don't notice him a lot of the time. And that also is good because with defense, mostly if I don't notice you, it means you're doing an okay job.
Right.
You don't want to be noticed because that means a lot of the times you're doing turnovers or things you shouldn't be doing. And I do think we did seem to be struggling more without him.
Gotcha.
So it did seem he's making a positive impression.
Awesome.
So yeah, I still am fine on him. I'm pretty neutral, I guess I would say, but I've been impressed.
The emotions are less mixed than they were when the announcement came out.
Yeah. I mean, do I still wish we would have been able to make a Chris Tanev thing work? Absolutely. But we've got what we've got, and he is the least of my, fish to fry.
Gotcha.
Oh, real quick, that does remind me. I wanted to touch on the fact that in our opening game on the road, it was against the Nashville Predators. And with Juuse Saros out, we went against Scott Wedgwood, our beloved former backup goaltender. So we scored 4 goals on him. Sorry, Scott Wedgwood, we love you.
Yeah, you were saying during the game they seemed to be going to the same exact spot every time and putting it right by him. Like maybe they knew that he wasn't so good at getting those shots.
Certainly the first 3 goals were all right in the same location.
Yeah.
And we had some Preds fans show up in the subreddit after the game and complaining about Scott Wedgwood. They're like, oh, good game, but it was pretty even, but you had so much better goaltending. And we were like, get out of here. We do not tolerate Scott Wedgwood disrespect in this subreddit. Because honestly, the thing is, Scott Wedgwood's good. He, if you look at his numbers, he did have a little bit of a dip last year in his numbers. He also played about twice as many games last year as he had in any other season before that, because Jake was out for some stretches. He just has a very different playing style.
Yeah, which you said during the game you were noticing, getting to see Ottinger versus him on the ice at the same time.
Very, very different playing style. So that was a very big change.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm a Wedgwood stan. I think maybe I just like goalies. I don't know.
Well, also his number is 41.
Sure.
Is it still in 41?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, it was 41 in Dallas and it appears to still be 41 in Nashville. So, which is your lucky number. So I got you a Wedgwood t-shirt for Christmas last year. Yeah, no, it was really nice to see him. I wish that, well, I don't wish it had been under different circumstances because I like a win. But if there are any Predators fans out there who ever listen to this, Scott Wedgwood's a good one. Don't take that performance as any kind of indication of anything.
Yeah.
He was playing against people who know him and his weaknesses very well.
And October hockey looks pretty sloppy overall, right? People, they're working things out still.
Everyone's still figuring things out. Yep. It's really, starting again from scratch. That's why there's 82 games in the season. Everything's going to change a million times over the course of the season. All right. So I think with that, we can go ahead and transfer over to the Flyers.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So I think I maybe talked about the Stars a little too long, but that's fine.
I mean, that's going to happen week to week.
It is. It's true.
So
the Flyers, we also got to see 2 games from them. We saw them on Friday night and Saturday night. Friday, they did play at the Canucks. So that's one of the games we touched on briefly. They won that game in the shootout.
That's right. Shootout. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that was, I think the final score was 3-2 in that game, if I'm remembering correctly. Earlier goals in the game, Tyson Forster and Cam York scored. And then the shootout winning goal was Morgan Frost after Travis Konechny scored a tying goal in the shootout to keep everybody in it.
So really the core people kind of
pretty much
held that game together.
Yeah, kind of the vets, some of the vets on that team. Urson played that game and looked super strong.
He did.
He had some phenomenal saves.
Oh, he kept them in that game.
Oh, 100%. Which Tortorella fully said, especially in the first period.
Yeah. It could have easily been 6-7-0 in the first there.
Yeah, no, he made some absolutely bonkers saves that he kind of had no business making. And it was great. It made me really happy because he really got thrown into a terrible situation last season and really did a phenomenal job, all things considered. Really didn't go on a skid till like the later part. Held up phenomenally well. So he just looks like he came in great shape and really like centered. And I'm really proud of him. So Good for him. Game 2. Actually, game 1, too. That was where we first saw the NHL debuts of Jet Luchenko and Matvei Michkov.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw them both in the preseason, but that was their regular season debuts. Luchenko looks really good.
Yes. Yeah. No, very much so. Yeah. And, I think everyone was pretty happy with it. Like, yeah, there were mistakes, but like, did you think there wouldn't be? Like,
correct. Honestly, he played more solidly in that game than Michkov did.
Yeah.
Michkov was more nervous, had more sort of errors. And things. Luchenko, for the most part, I think was more solid and like a little more steady overall. They, both had some good moments. They both had some bad moments, but overall really good. Obviously just like Michkov had like higher expectations going in because he's been such a superstar, over in Russia. So, but for Luchenko to come in, he's only been 18 for a few months.
Yeah.
Nobody thought he was going to make the Flyers. I mean, I don't think the Flyers thought he was going to make the Flyers.
Yeah. No.
Right out of the gate. And so for him to be playing at this level is crazy. And he's doing great. And his post-game interviews, he's so mature.
The way he carries himself, which Torts has mentioned, like the way he carries himself on and off the ice, like you see it. You're like, wow, he's what, 18? It's shocking.
He's more mature than I am. And I have like a child and a job.
Yeah. He could be your life coach.
He could be. It would be more responsible than getting a goalie to be my life coach. That's for certain. Yeah. Like 18-year-old forward or 25-year-old goalie. I'm going with the forward. Sorry.
Probably good.
Probably
a good call.
Why.
But yeah, no, I think they both met expectations.
Yes, for sure. And again, you kind of have to go with what they've got around them. Philly's still in a rebuild. You can't expect to just slot these two really, great players in there and expect everything to just click right away. But things are still clicking along.
Yeah, no, I think, with the Flyers, I'm excited for them when they do well. And when they don't do well, I'm like, well,
they're trying their best.
Yeah, you tried your best. Nobody was expecting it. Keep going.
Yeah.
So.
Well, last night, you probably don't know how the game turned out.
I think I went to bed after the first period.
I believe you did. Yep. Yeah. Final score of the game was 6-3.
Ouch.
Calgary won. I do want to say that 2 of the goals might have been empty nets because they might have pulled the goalie earlier. At one point, the score was only 3-2. So they did get it to a pretty tight margin.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was just kind of, some chaos.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessarily the best representation of them or their play necessarily. I don't think the score really necessarily told the full story.
And Urson was off.
Urson was off because it was a back-to-back. So
right. And Luchenko didn't play.
They gave Luchenko the night off, which I think, again, was really great. And I think shows they're concerned about his development. There's no sense in putting a barely 18-year-old rookie in back-to-back.
Yeah. And that was pretty much what Torts said in the post-game because people obviously were like, what about him? What about him? And why aren't you playing him again? He was like, I'm not playing him back to back.
Yeah, he's a tiny baby. He needs some rest. Let him get his rest. No, I think it's very responsible the way that a lot of people have said it's irresponsible for them to even be bringing him up and it's going to fuck up his development, yada, yada. But, I think if they're going to do this, they seem to be doing it really the right way by bringing him up and just giving him this amount of time.
Yeah. No, so. I'm excited for them this year. We'll see. I don't know.
It's great. I will say Fedotov did make some really good saves last night. And then there were some saves that he probably should have made and did not. Travis Konechny looked great last night. He had 2 of the 3 goals. One of them was a shorthanded goal because he is our shorty king.
Yep.
That's just what he does. And then his second goal was off of a pass from Michkov. So Michkov did get his first NHL point.
Nice.
Last night. And it was very cute because he passed it to TK. TK hit it in, kind of raised his arms to celebrate, and then immediately dropped them and scrambled off to go get the puck to hand it to Michkov.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
I know. It was really sweet. I really like him in his responsible dad era because I know he's still kind of a feral raccoon as well, but it's nice to see him in this kind of leadership role that he has going on too. And then Farabee also scored. So good to see him doing that. Again, that's that kind of the core stepping up again, although it wasn't quite enough. But
yeah, no, I think that they're going to do what they're going to do. It'll be fine. I've been a little underwhelmed with Torts interviews so far. He seems a little bit more arm wavy and abstract and less concrete with ideas right now, which I think is fine, but I can see it possibly bothering people. He's definitely seems more in the, yeah, we're just going to let him play and see how things work out. And I think that's stressing some of the reporters out.
And that's fine with me because the reporters can be, and I say that as somebody who like writes for a magazine for a living. Like, I don't know if I'm quote unquote a journalist, but I certainly interview people for a living, and I still am on towards the side.
Yeah, no, he does seem a little bit more standoffish and a little bit more generic in what he's saying. But I think that makes sense at this point in the season, and I think everyone should just relax.
I was going to say, I think that's just a function of this time of the season, maybe.
Yep.
We didn't really start watching him till more mid-season last year.
Yeah.
When things are really happening. You know, it is so early in the season right now. There's just really not that much to comment on.
Yeah.
You can't be getting all equivocal right now.
Pretty much they seem to be looking for specifics, and he's like, I don't know. I'm just going to let them play. I'm going to see how it goes. They're like, do you do this? Do you do that? He's like, no, these guys just do their own thing. It's fine. And,
he's like, I don't know. Ask me in a couple of months. Like,
pretty much. So
yeah, it is what it is.
Yep. But he does seem a little different earlier in the season. So
yes. And that's okay.
Yep.
And I like it because we all know that the fuse will eventually go off and we'll get some fun times.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of fun times, we actually have enough time this week to do a little game.
Absolutely. Before we move on from the Flyers, I just want to say we did watch their promo as well and thought it fit with their branding and their team fantastically.
That's right. I forgot about that. It was Wayne Simmons doing the voiceover, former Flyers player.
Yep.
Really talking about how much the Flyers represent the city and like the grittiness of it and the blue collarness of it. And again, it's the identity.
They nailed it.
Yeah. Well, so we have a segment that I've been calling icing on the cake. It's just a little something sweet we do at the end of the episode, something that's just a little fun exercise for us to do. So earlier this week, I texted you a link to that NHL Gen Z promo.
Yeah.
And your response to me was, I did not know that Connor McGriddle was Gen Z. Fascinating.
That's what I said.
That is what you said. And it made me laugh, mostly because it sounded funny, but also because McGriddle is about the last breakfast sandwich that I would associate with Connor McDavid.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's really, I would say maybe avocado toast. That might be too adventurous.
Yeah. If you're going to force him to eat at McDonald's for breakfast, he's like Egg McMuffin.
Yeah, but like... hold the muffin.
Yeah.
Just egg.
I do want to clarify, I don't hate Connor McDavid. I feel like I'm real negative about the guy, but like he's fantastic. I just don't have a relationship with him.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably...
And I'm not going to. I'm not interested.
Yeah, no, I think you can agree that objectively he's a fantastic hockey player and he's fun to watch on the ice, and he is not that fun to watch off the ice.
Yeah, anyway.
And that's fine. It's just part of the meme to make fun of him, and that's okay. So, anyway, so yeah, I think a McGriddle is about the last breakfast sandwich I'd associate with Connor McDavid, but it made me think, what fast food sandwiches would I associate with different NHL players? So I made a list of different fast food sandwiches, and I did give you the list ahead of time because I didn't want to like spring you on the spot.
Yeah. I'm not good off the dome.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true. Even though you do have an impressively large dome.
True.
It's true. So he has to get big hats. It's a whole thing.
7 3/4.
So anyway, I made a list of different sandwiches. We kind of came up with different specifications for what those sandwiches should be, but I don't think we need to bore people with the details.
Absolutely.
So I figure we'll just maybe kind of go down the list, and maybe I'll mention a sandwich. You can say who you thought, I'll say who I thought, and then we'll just kind of go from there and see how it goes.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm starting with a classic beef and cheddar sandwich from Arby's.
The beef and cheddar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just roast beef, cheddar cheese on a bun.
All right.
All right.
What did you come up with for that? I'm interested on your take. Or should I go first? Because I feel like mine's pretty interesting.
Okay. Well, I'll start, I guess.
All right.
I went with Jamie Benn.
Beef and cheddar. I can see it.
Yeah. It just, it's real basic. It's just meat, little cheese. Like he's very straightforward. What you see is what you get. He just does the thing. He doesn't change a lot over the years. He doesn't need a lot of like additives or additions or like.
He's classic.
He's a classic.
Yeah.
He's a very straightforward classic. He doesn't need a lot of vegetables or condiments or anything like that. He's just meat and bread and a little bit of cheese.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
I like that. So for me, I went with the Tanev brothers.
Interesting. I want to hear this.
Well, Chris is the beef.
Yes.
Brandon's the cheese.
Oh my gosh. That's actually really good. That's true. I can totally see that.
Yep. That's all I got. And I think it's self-explanatory. There.
Very self-explanatory. Yeah. Yes. No, I actually really like that one too. And I think both of these are completely justifiable.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Did you want to pick a sandwich next, or do you want me to just keep going?
No, you keep going. You
okay.
Yeah.
I run the show.
Yeah. Don't let me mess things up.
You're like, why would I start making decisions now? I haven't done that for 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's not mess with a good thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so the next one I have on my list then is the Impossible Whopper from Burger King.
Yes.
All right. Let's have you start this time. Who did you choose for that?
So I went with Nathan McKinnon on that one.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, that one seems pretty like he's got that energy, right? He's eating nuts and berries all the time. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like you would kind of think maybe like, oh, the Big Mac because his name, but he would never eat a Big Mac.
Oh, no.
Not even if the patties were made with chickpeas. Like that would not be acceptable. You know, he takes his nutrition very seriously. Now, the Impossible Whopper, I think, would still be a very big splurge for him nutrition wise.
Yeah. He's not going to go down with that.
Yeah.
No.
But, you know, it's fake meat.
Yep.
It's got some vegetables on it. That flame grilled kind of Burger King thing tastes maybe the realest out of fast food sandwiches.
Yeah.
So if like he's really going to do some kind of a fast food cheat, like if he has to, if his feet are really being held to the fire, he'll succumb to an Impossible Whopper.
Absolutely.
He'll find it impossible, but he'll do it.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right. My next burger I have is also from Burger King, and it's the Rodeo Burger, which is just like a small burger, and it has like spicy barbecue sauce on it. Mm-hmm. Spicy according to Burger King standards.
It's not spicy.
I don't even find it spicy,
no,
and
like
I find everything spicy.
It's like Heinz barbecue sauce.
And then it also has some fried onion rings on it.
Yep.
So I thought that this was Matt Duchesne.
A rodeo burger, Matt Duchesne. I could see that. He's got that country Nashville kind of thing that he really likes.
Yeah, but it's like, is it really country?
Yeah.
Like, it's like just because you put some barbecue sauce and some onion rings on it, it's not that country. Right. Like, it's just a burger.
Yeah. So I went with Jack Hughes.
Interesting.
Because I know he likes country music, and I've seen a video of him dancing at like some concert that was country. That was all I could come up with for the rodeo burger.
There you go. Well, in that case, I'm going to skip to a different sandwich down the list.
All right.
I'm going to go with the spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's because that's what I picked Jack Hughes for.
Oh, you think he's spicy?
I think that like spicy by Wendy's standards.
Sure.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I don't think I've eaten Wendy's since college.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Wendy's is just such squarely like young people's fast food.
Gotcha. Yep.
I don't know. It's just like such a high school, college fast food. Like that was where we would stop on the way home from like basketball away games.
Mm-hmm.
It just is like so squarely a young person's thing. And then like a spicy chicken sandwich. It's like, I'm not like the other boys. I'm a spicy chicken sandwich.
He would say something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He just gives me spicy chicken sandwich, but not any spicy chicken sandwich, specifically spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's vibes.
Gotcha. Yep. So I, for spicy chicken sandwich, just went with Kachuk, Matthew.
Yes.
Because, you know.
I could see
spicy.
that too.
Yep.
For Kachuk, I went with the filet of fish sandwich from McDonald's.
Really?
Yes. Because polarizing, you know,
yeah.
you don't really find people who like the filet of fish sandwich that much. If they do, they like it pretty reluctantly, I would say. They're like,
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I don't order it very much at all. I've probably had 3 in the last 20 years.
Right. Yeah, no, it's not like a thing you seek out necessarily, but like when you do get it, you're like, oh, this is surprisingly pretty good. I should maybe have this more. And then you just don't do it. But if you're not a fan of it, you're like, why does this even exist?
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
What's wrong with the world today?
I can see that.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's just kind of a polarizing thing. And then once again, you have huge swaths of the population that don't know that you exist.
Exactly. Yeah. People are like, what? That's still on the menu?
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just big old Matthew Kachuk vibes to me.
So for the fish, or the filet-o-fish, right?
Yes, the filet-o-fish.
I don't know that I have much of an answer for why I chose this person, but I went with Marchand.
Interesting. I could see that.
Boston by the sea. He gives me those vibes. I don't know.
Also have Marchand for a sandwich, but I assigned him the bacon cheeseburger from Five Guys.
The bacon cheeseburger from Five Guys. Yes.
Yeah, it's like there's so many burgers on our list that it's mostly burgers really, but there's just something like extra greasy about it. And like at the time you're like, it's kind of tasty, I guess, but then afterwards you're like, oh, I feel so gross. Why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, that can be the result of Five Guys at times.
Yeah.
Especially when you get a large fry to go with it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So, it's just like, it's kind of the same as like any other hockey player / burger, but greasier.
Yeah. So the Five Guys, this was a recent ad, so I had to think of this one real fast. But I couldn't come up with a specific player, but I feel Five Guys kind of represents America now. Like that's kind of more of like an American burger, or like what we consider good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of elevated to that status over like a Whopper or over like a Big Mac for me.
Right. Yeah. No, it seems like fancier compared to that.
And all I could come up with are those no one in particular, but the Russian guys that seem really happy to be in the US and they're like really leaning into American culture. They're like, yeah, I like burgers.
I like that.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a bunch of them, but
it's like when we were watching the Flyers thing yesterday, where I think Igor Zamula was trying to say burgers, and the reporter Ashlyn Sullivan couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah,
definitely kind of those vibes.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Russian. Just really anyone from Europe that's like real excited and jazzed to be in America, and like wearing the cowboy hats and eating the burgers and just like yay America. So,
all that kind of stuff. Yep. I get that.
Yep.
Well, I'll kind of go back to following the list now.
Okay.
To get anything we've missed. So the next one we've got is the double animal style from In-N-Out, which is on the list because it's my personal favorite. I went with Leon Draisaitl for that one.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yep.
It's like perfectly balanced.
Yep.
It's just kind of like clean and fresh, but it's got like a little sauce.
It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I went with Jason Robertson because he's Californian.
Oh, that also totally makes sense.
I'd imagine if you ask him what his favorite burger is, he's going to say In-N-Out. So that was all I could come up with there.
Hey, I like it. It's totally valid. All right. Then we've got the Big Mac from McDonald's. Mm-hmm. Who did you go for with that?
That one I went with Jamie Benn.
Okay. I can see that.
I feel like if he's going to McDonald's, he's like...
He's a big boy. He needs
like,
a Big Mac.
What's your big sandwich? Yep, Big Mac. There we go. That's what I eat.
I went with Sidney Crosby for that one because I think if you think of fast food sandwiches, Big Mac is kind of, and I hate to use this word, but it's kind of iconic.
It's iconic. It's an archetype of American fast food.
Yes. And Sidney Crosby is kind of an archetype of hockey player. Like he is generational and he's just so representative of the sport. Just like the Big Mac is representative of the fast food sandwich.
Yep. Love it.
So then we have the double quarter pounder with cheese from McDonald's on the list because you wanted that one on the list.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's an important distinction. I feel like that's the other classic at McDonald's. And, not everyone's getting a Big Mac. I can't remember the last time I had a Big Mac. Like that's a decision you make.
Yeah.
So yeah, double quarter pounder with cheese, I feel like is the next option that, you can eat with your hands and it doesn't fall all over the place.
Yes. So who did you go for with that?
I went with TK. Travis
I could see that.
Yep. For reasons I don't entirely understand, but he does seem to just inhabit something that I relate to that burger. I got no explanation. You know
what? I just realized I forgot to pick somebody for that. And I will also co-sign and say Travis Konechny for that.
Nice.
Because he's just, There's like a lot of pounds per square inch of that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's, he's compact, but like he packs a punch.
Yep.
So it's like, he's like a quarter pounder, but like more, and yeah, like kind of there's something very classic about him, but also something a little too much about him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I can support that.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. And then we've got one last sandwich to go.
We do.
And I've saved that for last. It is the Baconator from Wendy's.
Oh, the Baconator. There we go. Yeah.
Yes. So who did you choose for the Baconator?
All right. Well, I didn't look up his name because I just wanted to give you what I wrote down.
Okay.
I wrote down the big guy with no teeth. Is that Ferraro? Maybe he's a shark.
Okay, there is a big guy with no teeth who is Ferraro, and he might be a shark.
Is he a shark? I don't know. We see him a lot on those.
We do on like the
player association.
Yeah, player association
trip
videos
reports and stuff. And he just gives me bacon vibes. Like if I was going to ask that guy, like his thoughts on bacon, I feel like he could have a little diatribe about bacon.
I can definitely see that. And you're right. He is on the Sharks.
Yep.
So yes, no, I don't know much about him, but he seems very delightful.
He makes me laugh every time he's saying something.
Yes.
So.
No, great smile too. I went with Alexander Ovechkin for the Baconator.
Okay.
And I probably went with that for the same reason that you went with the sort of generic Russian guy who likes burgers for the, what was that, the Five Guys burger?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ovechkin's just real over the top. He's real into excess.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but he's like notorious for like, how they have like the water bottles on the benches. His are filled with like Coke and Dr. Pepper. Like
That's
he drinks
wild.
that during the games.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like it would not be unheard of for him to just like have a Baconator as a snack between periods. Like,
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like he's probably not concerned if he's drinking soda during the game. He's probably not concerned about the Baconator affecting his diet.
No, his nutrition is wild.
Yep.
He like eats pasta with 4 different kinds of sauce. Like he just the excess is truly next level.
I love that.
And I just feel like, I feel like Baconator really sort of encapsulates all of that real just over the topness, like meat and more meat and more meat and then some bacon and then some cheese and then some more bacon. Like that just feels like real Ovechkin vibes to me. All right, that is the end of regulation on this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on both Tumblr and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I will post content when I remember. You can also email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to hear your spicy takes. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.